The trial in the case of Dominic Ongwen continued on 27 February 2017 at the International Criminal Court in The Hague with the second block of hearings. The alleged former Brigade Commander in the Sinia Brigade of the Lord's Resistance Army is accused of 70 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity, allegedly committed during attacks against civilian population in Lukodi, Pajule, Odek and Abok IDP camps between October 2003 and June 2004. A protected witness, witness P0003, testified for a duration of 5 days, from 27 February to 3rd March. He worked in the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, as a radio operator, making him the 5th radio operator called by the Office of the Prosecutor so far. The witness said that he listened to LRA communications daily for several years and would report the information he obtained to the UPDF command. In order to successfully interpret communications, the witness was trained to identify commanders by their voice alone and taught how to break the Tonfas code, a code used by the LRA when sending radio messages.
When the LRA is writing wire, this is how they go about it. They'll tell you go to mile 19, and that's the serial number 19. At serial number 19, you'll find many homes. Among the many homes, leave the first one, go to the second one. At the second house, you find the word woro. The first house has guok, the second house has woro. When the LRA is sending a message, they'll tell you go to mile number 19, go to the second house. At the second house, take the first one. And when we are talking about take the first one, it means take the first letter referring to W. The people who are receiving the message will note down W. They'll go on at the same mile, 19. There are many homes, but the third house, at the third house, take the second letter. At number 19, there are many houses. Go to the third house and take the second letter, which means A.
The witness further noted that Dominic Ongwen would keep his communications on the radio very limited and would always speak when reporting an important achievement. In its pre-trial brief, the Office of the Prosecutor alleges that as of 2002, the LRA used a sophisticated method of communicating by radio. According to this brief, Joseph Kony required senior LRA commanders to report their locations and activities using this method, and was himself heard giving orders and enforcing discipline. The Office of the Prosecutor presented recordings of several intercepted LRA radio communications during the testimony of the witness P0003. After being played one of the intercepts, witness P0003 said he heard the voice of Dominic Ongwen reporting to Joseph Kony on an attack he had conducted in Odek. The witness further explained that Ongwen claimed to have burnt everything and that civilian deaths were uncountable, before going on to detail ammunition that he had seized. The prosecutor alleges that Dominic Ongwen planned and executed an attack on the Odek IDP camp, where he had told his fighters to shoot any civilian found. According to the OTP pre-trial brief, the LRA fighters pillaged food and abducted civilians who were beaten and forced to carry food away. 61 civilians were shot dead. Some of the abducted men were later murdered by LRA fighters, while children were conscripted into the LRA ranks. In another intercepted radio communication, witness P0003 testified hearing Kony praising the work of Dominic Ongwen.
Look, see how Dominic works. If everybody worked in the same manner that Dominic did, that would be great. Dominic is the one who does a great job. Oti said, yeah, he'll perform coins instructions, and they were praising Dominic, saying Dominic is a commander who does a job well.
In the continuation of the trial from 6th to 10th March 2017, witness P0205, a former officer in the Sinia Brigade serving under Dominic Ongwen, testified with a protective measure of face distortion. Witnesses that come to testify at the ICC may require such protective measures. We spoke to the ICC spokesperson, Mr. Fadi El Habdallah, about these measures and the factors that must be considered in granting them.
The court has a number of protective measures that can be granted to witnesses who appear before it and to other persons if they are at risk on account of testimony given by witness. Protective measures do not affect the fairness of a trial. They are used to make witnesses safe and comfortable, and they apply for both referring parties, the prosecution and the defense, equally. And even when protective measures are applied, questions can still be put to the witness by the parties. Now, the protective measures can vary a lot. The foundation of the court's protection system is good practices, which are aimed at concealing a witness's interaction with the court from their community and from the general public. These are employed by all people coming into contact with witnesses. Then the court can also apply procedural protective measures. Such measures may consist of face or voice distortion or the use of a pseudonym, and separate special measures can be ordered by the court for traumatized witnesses, a child, an elderly person, or a victim of sexual violence. And these can include facilitating the testimony of witnesses by allowing a psychologist or family member to be present while the witness gives testimony, or the use of a curtain to shield the witness from direct eye contact with the accused. There are also operational protective measures that can be implemented where witnesses reside. For example, the initial response system is a 24/7 emergency response system. Other operational protective measures include educating witnesses on the importance of confidentiality and cover stories, or agreeing on an emergency backup plan. And a last resort protective measure is relocating the witness and his or her close relatives away from the source of the threat. This is an effective method of protection, but due to the immense burden on the relocated persons, relocation remains a measure of last resort when absolutely necessary.
Moreover, witness P0205 was appointed by the registry, Mrs. Sarah Kerwegi, as counsel for matters of possible self-incrimination.
Where the witness testimony may raise issues of self-incrimination, which means that the witness might reveal through the testimony his or her potential role in the commission of a crime, the ICC may appoint a qualified lawyer to provide independent legal advice to the witnesses on this matter.
As a former officer in the Sinia Brigade serving under Dominic Ongwen, witness P0205 recalled several orders given prior to attacks in Odek and Lukodi.
The order I had was issuing to the standby was that first, the standby was supposed to go for an operation in Odek, and there were not so many soldiers there. There were few soldiers at Odek. Therefore, the standby should go and destroy Odek completely. They should only leave bare ground. Nothing should be left in Odek. That is what I heard him telling the people.
An exception, however, was also communicated to soldiers by Ongwen.
He said, in this attack, if they had found good girls, they should be abducted. Boys should also be abducted when found. Those who were not fit to be in the army, those who were above 18 should not be brought. They should be killed instead.
The witness later qualified the type of girls the LRA sought to abduct, stating that these girls would be aged 12 and upwards and were expected to be healthy and free of any sexually transmitted diseases. Men in the battalion around the age of 20 who were considered to be mature would be given one of these women as wives. When talking about the discipline and the system of punishment in the LRA, witness P0205 said that the Holy Spirit would speak exclusively to Joseph Kony about such matters. In an interview played in the courtroom, the former LRA Major, Jackson Achama, recounted how LRA soldiers who tried to escape were killed in front of the others in an effort to instill fear. The witness confirmed that harsh punishment was particularly reserved for soldiers who attempted to escape the LRA. He further said that even the most senior commanders were not granted immunity from such punishment.
What I can confirm, two that I witnessed. Firstly, I saw the killings of two senior commanders, Okello and Oti Lagony. Secondly, from the Congo, I witnessed the killing of a commander, Oti Vincent, Ben Achela, and Otim, and other officers, because they were alleged to be interested in escaping. Whoever the person who gave me the report about that told me that it was actually the spirit that conveyed the message that these people wanted to escape.
Former child soldier and escort Dominic Ongwen, protected witness P0330, testified from 10th to 16th March. As a dual status witness, P0330 had Mrs. Paulina Masida, Principal Counsel at the Office of the Public Counsel for Victims, at his side for the possible questions of self-incrimination. During his testimony, witness P0330 said that he was abducted and forced to join the LRA. He explained how the LRA commonly abducted young children in an effort to boost its ranks.
The group that abducted me took me because I was not yet in a Domi's household. I was still in the hands of the person who abducted me, a soldier belonging to Okello who was under Odomi. They took me to a trench, took off my shirt, and I was told that they had to recruit me into the army. I was told that I had to be recruited into the army. I was told to kneel down and touch my nails, and I was beaten with a wire lock. And that was the initiation, the recruitment into the army.
He recalled the LRA abducting principally young rather than older people.
They would abduct the young children because they would say the children would not be able to escape because they will fail to trace their way back home. Secondly, the young people could be able to carry out any kind of atrocity.
In his role as an escort to the accused, the witness said he was required to follow Dominic Ongwen at all times, carry his gun and chair, and prepare his tent at night. The witness shared that his time in the LRA has left him with physical and psychological scars. Injuries he sustained have never healed properly, and he continues to experience recurrent nightmares. Among the worst things, the witness is said to have seen what was described as an incident when Ongwen and Odhiambo's group had co-jointly attacked a village in northern Uganda.
At Chulu's home, people were assembled and they started looking for the child, and they realized that the person had taken the child to government troops. People were selected from different homes and assembled together. including children and women and old people. And they said, we want to show you something. If a rebel escapes with a gun and you keep the rebel amidst you, we are going to show you what happens. Then they started cutting civilians, cutting them into pieces, and the body pieces were cooked in a pot, and people ate the meat.
Witness P0330 also spoke about attacks in Abok, Pajule, and Odek, and made reference to Ongwen's involvement in all three operations. With regards to Odek, the witness recalled the killing of abducted civilians because it was feared they would inform government soldiers of their location. Though it was claimed Ongwen did not recognize this witness, the witness defended his testimony.
I know him, and I know that I suffered under his group, and I escaped death. So if he says he does not recognize me, would I just smell that his child was shot? There are many things that I did with him.
On Friday, 17th March 2017, a second dual-status witness in this case testified before the court. Witness P0379 was granted the protective measure of face distortion and was appointed Mrs. Sarah Kerwegi as counsel for matters of possible self-incrimination. During his examination, witness P0379 narrated events surrounding his abduction that led to him becoming a senior fighter in the Oka Battalion and under the command of Dominic Ongwen.
No, it was impossible to escape because we were all tied up. All the people that were tied up, all the people walking were tied up, most of them. We were also afraid, we were extremely scared, so you could not even think about escaping at that time.
The witness later emphasized once again the fear and danger that was associated with escaping and offered a specific example in his recollection.
The boy was brought and they said we should go and kill him. When people got up, because there were so many people, then Otngech restrained them. He said, this boy is a soldier, and if we send you to go and kill him, there's a possibility that he can also escape. And you're also so many, and some of you might also escape. Therefore, the more seasoned soldiers were the ones who went with the boy, went and killed him. They stabbed him with a bayonet. Afterwards, they told us that all of you should go and witness. You might think that we've not killed him. We want all of you to go and see with your own eyes. When you reach there, make sure you beat the dead body with a stick, and you must touch the body. We all went and beat the body, the dead body, touched the body, and then we came back.
After being taken by the LRA, the witness was forced to march with other abductees to Sudan, where they were trained for several months. In one instance, he described the firearm training they received.
We were gathered together, we formed a circle, and they brought a gun. They started dismantling the gun. They showed us the different parts of a gun with their names. The number of times you do not call it right would be the number of canes that you are given.
Following his training, the witness was called to be an escort to Dominic Ongwen, whose character he was asked to describe.
Dominic Ongwen was somebody who committed atrocities. He ruined civilians' properties. He also used civilians. He used civilians in a very bad manner, and that's my opinion of Dominic.
After spending 8 months with Oka Battalion, witness P0379 eventually escaped and spent time at a World Vision settlement before relocating to the Pajule IDP camp.
Life in the camp was very difficult. It is actually immeasurable because people were gathered together, and you know, when people are all put together in a very small place, there are incidences of various diseases coming. You know, when people are very many in a place, there are problems of hygiene and sanitation. On top of that, there are issues of food items, because the food items that were being distributed were insufficient to maintain the people. People would have to look for other ways of having to move outside the camps to go and carry out some cultivation to support whatever is being issued by the humanitarian organizations. But most times when they go, and in case they meet with the rebels, they're either abducted or even killed. When they meet government soldiers, it would still be the same fate.
On the day following Independence Day, namely October 10th, 2003, the witness once again crossed paths with the LRA during the attack on the Pajule IDP camp.
What I saw that day was the day that was so strange. You would hear people crying in every corner. Some people were abducted. Some people were killed, shot and killed. And very close to our home, there was a girl called Achiro Agnes, who I estimate to be about 14 years old, was shot at that just near the home in a showgum garden. And there were other people who were captured. Myself, my brother was also captured, and my uncle's daughter was also captured, and several other people were taken.
Mr. Ongwen is represented by a defense team led by the Defense Counsel, Mr. Crispus Ayena Odongo. The defense is conducting its own investigation and has the right to examine prosecution witnesses throughout the prosecution case. Witnesses are first examined by the calling party, in this case the prosecution, and then are subject to cross-examination by the defense. A later witness who testified from 28th to 31st March 2017, protected witness P309, recounted his experience in various attacks as a former LRA child soldier. Among the operations he spoke about in court, the witness described events at Pajule. Using a sketch he had drawn, he detailed his movements toward the military barracks while another group attacked the trading center. Unable to overpower the barracks, he moved into the town center where looting was taking place. The witness is said to have been instructed by Ongwen to abduct 2 civilians to carry the looted goods. He entered their homes and ordered them out. They were helpless. They did not refuse. When I called them, they left and they were shaking with fear. They were trembling and they came and carried the luggage that I'd asked them to carry. Witness P309 recalled other attacks where LRA fighters dressed as Ugandan army soldiers to enter villages.
We dressed in that way because we wanted to dupe the soldiers into thinking we were part of them. We wanted to go up to the barracks and overrun it, and then recover some ammunition from there.
After escaping the LRA, this witness joined a World Vision program. Despite efforts made, however, the witness finds it impossible to forget the years he spent in the LRA.
My abduction and staying in the bush changed my life because I was not able to achieve my ambitions. I was not able to complete my education. And I lost a lot of friends. I no longer know the friends that I grew up with. When I came back from the bush, when I'm with people, when I'm among people, I find it difficult to converse with people. If people talk about things that relate to me, then it makes me angry, it makes me sad.
Between 3rd and 5th April 2017, another protected witness, P0264, shared accounts about his abduction by the LRA at age 11 and the ensuing 15 years he spent as a fighter in the Sinia Brigade. Despite strict warnings against it, witness P0264 attempted to escape shortly after his abduction and described the punishment he received when reapprehended.
I was blindfolded and my hands were bound to my back. They told me that they should begin by rubbing my neck with the cassava stems. Once they started doing that, someone was holding my feet. My chest, somebody also stepped on my chest. They asked me, why are you trying to escape to go back home? I told them that I had a dream. I want to go back to school.
After being spared by the LRA, he is said to have been assigned as an escort to various commanders. In his role, witness P0264 took part in several attacks, including one in Odek. He recounted to court orders that he even received.
So they issued an order telling us that be extremely cautious. The caution means that as a soldier, you're the one who should start shooting at the house. So indeed, people started shooting at houses. So any house that people came across was shot. Any house that we came across, there was a barrage of bullets into that house. And I personally also did that. And in the process of shooting, you hear people crying in the house. People continued going forward. We continued fighting. We defeated the government soldiers until people started taking things. And that's what I can explain.
Witness P0264 recalled seeing Ongwen at a meeting just prior to this attack, during which senior commanders in the LRA were planning the operation. When asked about Ongwen's character and reputation in the LRA, the witness said that he was a good commander. Dominic Ongwen, among the LRA commanders that I met, he was a good person. He wasn't a bad person. Ting Ting, the witness said, was a name given to girls who were too young to be given as wives. Sleeping with such girls, according to the witness, was strictly prohibited, but the witness affirmed such illicit behavior was common. Some LRA soldiers would go out of their way, according to witness, to make sure that their superiors were not aware that they had slept with the Ting Tings. The trial will resume on Monday, 1st May 2017, with the testimony of the next prosecution witness.